All right, what is up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Lifting, Running, and Living with your favorite people. I know we are. Kelly,
Hello.
hey, and JK, that's me. We're kicking off episode number 73. All right, we got a few things on the rundown today,
Yeah.
all somewhat fitness slash lifting and running focus. They all fit underneath that umbrella somewhat with a
They all
little.
fall under running, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. We're going heavy on the running content in this particular
Hmm.
episode. We're actually going to start off with a tech spin in running. So because we do have 2 to 3 topics that we plan to cover, we are skipping the pleasantries and the updates for this particular episode. But don't you worry, those will be back in the mix more likely than not next week. So
Yeah.
or next episode, I should say, not next week, next episode. All right, so let's jump into the first one. And we're going to talk about the Minimus augmented reality glasses. So these came across literally came across my feed because I listen to this podcast occasionally called The Pitch. And The Pitch is essentially like a podcast version of Shark Tank, where
Oh.
founders and inventors and everything in between go in front of, let's say, 3 or 4 possible investors and pitch their particular idea. And then I think there's also like a component where you as a listener can contribute to the pitch fund, I believe,
Oh.
and also potentially invest in some of the things that they present on there. But
That's cool.
really, I think the podcast version of Shark Tank is about the best kind of context that I can give for this particular thing. So this particular product, which is called Minimus, Minimus Flow. This particular one happens to also have a Kickstarter. However, not every product that's on there has a Kickstarter. This one I sent to you because it involves running and endurance
Yeah.
endurance sports, specifically more like runners and cyclists. It seems like we're really the target market. So here's a rundown on this because I'm very curious to get your take on not just these glasses in particular. However, the feasibility of something like this being, um, let's say, maybe even half as common as a wearable like a Garmin device or an Apple Watch within the next, I'd say 5 to 10 years at the most. I'm very curious to get your take on that. So
Ooh.
this particular product, it's called Minimus Flow, and they're augmented reality sports sunglasses that are built mainly for runners and cyclists. So the idea is that with these particular glasses slash, I'm going to say slash goggles ish, because yeah, slash goggles. The idea is that it replaces several different devices. So it would combine the features of your running watch. If you happen to have a bike that also has like a little computer or some sort of display that's attached to that, and your phone, put all of that together in one pair of glasses. So the retail price is going to be around $699. So you're talking about
Oh
$700.
my God.
Okay. Um, the concept is that as you are wearing these and you are out on your run or your bike ride, instead of looking down at your wrist to keep track of things and see what your pace is, or to pull out your phone in order to try to do that while you're running or biking, you can see those things on a small display inside the actual lens. So it's essentially like being shown to you on your screen, which is in front of your eyes, on your glasses. So you would have different workout data like your pace, your distance, your heart rate, and your navigation too as you're out on the course. So you can basically see your stats without looking down at your watch or your phone. Also has additional built-in hardware. So you've got your GPS for your tracking and navigation. You've got an optical heart rate sensor that's included in there. You have Bluetooth and Ant Plus sensor support, so you can wear other devices that potentially you can attach to. It has eSIM cellular connectivity, so you can actually make phone calls, you can stream music, and you can upload workouts without having to have your phone with you. So this particular one, and this basically sounds like an advertisement for it, but this particular one has a full HD display. So that's a full 1080 display, which still, I'd say is still the most prevalent display that you're going to see out there. I know 2K and 4K and 8K are, I'm sorry, 4K and 8K are things when it comes to flat panels, but I just, from personal experience, the majority of folks are still working with 1080. So it would be very equal to the quality that you're seeing when you're watching high definition TV right now. And then it runs on an Android based system. So it has onboard storage and processing. Let's see. And then the last couple things, the weight and design, they're about 90 grams, which is about 3 ounces. And it has photochromic lenses that adjust to sunlight, anti-fog coating, and UV protection. So initially, what are your thoughts on this device, and more broadly, just devices like this? What do you see as pros and cons? And is this something that you would
No, not at all.
entertain? No, you didn't
I
even
think
question it.
no. And
Okay.
here's why. Well, one, I think they're really ugly.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
yeah. Two, the whole, like, for running, it's really not that hard to look down at your watch.
Mm-hmm.
For cycling, like if I was an avid cyclist, I might consider it more because that does seem more dangerous, like taking your attention away from where it needs to be.
Yeah.
You know, like running, I can lift my wrist up to my face if I need to.
True.
You know, and you're not going as fast as on a bike, obviously. So there's that. I don't understand the whole, like, pro of not having to have your phone. As a woman, I'm never not going to have my phone if I'm out doing an activity, you know, from like a
Okay.
safety standpoint. Like, not needing my phone is not enticing. I'm always going to have my phone.
Okay.
And
even
like,
with the cellular connection, the reason that that feature comes to mind because I definitely have interacted with folks, females specifically, who prefer the cellular Apple Watch because they don't have to bring their phone with them on the run and they can still have the cellular connection.
no.
Okay. I am sensing that there's a question of the reliability of that, like,
Yeah.
the phone,
and
the phone connection versus the watch connection, even though they're both cellular, right?
Well, I don't use my Garmin for that. Like, I don't have notifications or anything going in my Garmin, so I don't use my watch as a phone.
Would you?
I wouldn't. No.
Okay.
I don't. Having a phone isn't cumbersome enough for me to seek alternatives.
I got you. Okay.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
I have sports bras where it just goes into the pocket. So it's like, it's not annoying to carry. It's kind of annoying to get it, but it's not like annoying enough where I'm like, I need a $700 device.
Yeah. So that's not a massive selling point for you.
No, to me, not at all.
Yeah.
And when you originally sent this to me, my first reaction was like, runners don't need this. Some of us are already too obsessed with data. Having it there constantly, I feel like it's just a massive con for people who already don't know how to run by feel. And then if you're just like constantly staring at your pace and your heart rate, you know, like that's the nice thing about a watch is you can adjust whatever screen you want. So if you want to hide certain metrics, you can. And granted, you might be able to do that with these two, but
yeah, I believe you. Yeah, I actually believe you can. But I
if
think you're bringing
you
up good
are,
points,
then like, what's the point of them?
Yeah.
Is it just the navigation at that point? And
well, I think so. You didn't? Did I send you the episode?
No, you just sent me the link to this Kickstarter.
I sent you the link to the thing. Okay, so interestingly enough, and not surprisingly, however, interestingly enough, those are many of the same cons or skepticism or arguments that the investors brought up. And
Mm,
if I remember correctly, the feedback was that cyclists would be the primary target to go after,
makes
for
sense.
sure.
Yep.
And even when the guy first started off with making his presentation about it, he started off with a story about how he narrowly got into an accident, like narrowly missed getting into a major accident. I
Yeah.
want to say on his bike by looking down and
That makes
whatnot.
more sense because you're
I could
going
definitely
so
see that
much
for biking.
faster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could absolutely see that. Now, I do think that the customization piece is something that's there. So
Hmm.
it's not like you are forced to have to see all 37 different pieces of data.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
just
think,
don't think for running there's anything you should be seeing the whole time.
yeah,
Maybe your route if you have very poor direction sense, but
yeah,
like metric wise.
I think it is interesting that it seems like the need that they're trying to meet, or the problem that they're trying to solve, because from the coaching world, when you're working with either a business coach or you just like follow something, some sort of a structure, one of the main things that you start off with is making sure that it's very clear, like, what problem do you solve? So if somebody needs to
Hmm.
hire you, they're hiring you to solve some sort of particular problem. And I think that a product like this, it's the same thing. Okay, what problem does this product solve? And it reminds me that from my point of view, there's two directions you can basically go. You're solving a problem that people know they have, or you almost have to like convince people that this is a problem that needs to be solved.
Yeah.
Uber comes to mind. I remember when
Oh.
Uber first like really tried to take off, the massive skepticism was because the investors were like, this is not a problem that actually exists. And so
Mhm.
they had to basically like create the problem. So create the market um, for their particular service, which ironically they didn't actually become profitable until just a handful of years ago. Like literally within the last
That's
5 years is
crazy.
when they actually finally turned a profit. But I think about these glasses very much the same. Like I don't know the average runner is runner and or cyclist. So let me say the average endurance athlete. I'll put them under that heading.
Mhm.
I don't know that the average endurance athlete right now is looking to minimize the different things that they have and combine them all into one that they would trust it to be on a pair of glasses yet. I don't think that they're
And
quite there.
the other thing that I feel like they are forgetting is like I use my Garmin to track my runs and activities, but I
Hmm.
also just straight up use it as a watch the other 23 hours of the day. You know, these glasses will not replace my Garmin because it's not a watch. Like
Yeah,
if
I think
I
the
still
same.
want the time, I have to wear a watch.
Well, yeah, I think they would. I don't know. I get. Yeah, I think we're pretty much in agreement. I think that price point of $700, definitely. I mean, if you're talking about
Yeah.
like a Garmin, like the Phoenix, because you have one of the hoity-toity options, right? Don't you have a Phoenix?
Yeah, but I do need to remind you I got it half off.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so
But yeah,
anywho,
I think the new Phoenix, like what are they on, 7 or 8?
yeah,
It's got to be
I
like
don't
800.
I don't know. But
It's a lot of money.
anyways, you've got something like that, or you've got like the Apple Watch Ultra or the
Mhm.
Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra series. Those higher end ones, that is pretty much about the price point that you're at. So I don't know that I see right now. I still think that we're quite a ways away from someone, I would say your average person who also does endurance sports, investing in something like this, because this likely, to your point, they're still going to have a Garmin and something else that they're wearing day to day. They're going to want to track their sleep and those different things.
Yeah.
So I don't foresee them purchasing something like this to replace. I think that if the price point was lower and it could be used as a supplement or as an add-on where it was maybe half the price. I think if you're around 300, you probably are maybe in that category. And I actually think
Mhm.
that that's where some of the meta, I haven't like super dug into it, but I know that a decent amount of there's a newer line of metas that are designed that
Yeah.
do have an on-screen display. I haven't looked at like all the details and what that allows you to do, but they'll even come with like a wristband that will track certain stats and then broadcast it into the glasses. So
Hmm.
and their price point is it's actually pretty high still too. However, that might fit that niche a little bit more. So it looks like, you know, I like the innovation and I like the thought process so far. I could see this as something that's really I could see this being used for certain, like maybe Olympic athletes, like training for them, or some sort of like professionals, like super high level professionals, and the organizations are maybe using it for them. But I don't see this for your everyday person who also does events
I don't
being a
even
thing.
know about professionals, at least in the running space.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like the triathletes and whatnot.
I think the triathletes are
That
the primary. The
yeah,
people
I agree.
that have disposable income that will want to spend it on shiny things,
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
know.
That's fair. Okay,
Um,
good
but
on this
yeah.
one. Yeah. Okay.
Well, my last comment
Mm,
is as someone who used to buy Gooder sunglasses
hmm.
because I'm very rough with sunglasses, I would be hard pressed to spend hundreds of dollars on something like this. I'd be very nervous. Uh
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. But
We'll see.
if these all of a sudden blow up like overnight before the end of 2026, you can say, "Hey, I heard about these on
I
Lifting,
heard
Running,
about
and
these
Living."
and I completely shit on them.
Yeah. I believe their Kickstarter might still be going. So if anybody's interested, go ahead, check that out. All right. Let's get into some running content. There were a couple of recent events, and we're gonna chat about those. So one, which actually this one's the more recent of the two. So the
Yeah.
2026 LA Marathon just finished, and
Yesterday, right?
was it yesterday or day
I
before?
think I thought it was yesterday.
Okay, well, recently, yeah. Well, we're
Oh, it
recording.
might have been
So
Saturday.
yeah,
I
so
feel
we're
like it'd be
recording on
rude to have it.
Monday, March
It'd be rude
9th,
to
by the
have
way.
it the morning that we lose an hour. So,
That would.
but that doesn't stop races.
Yeah, there you go. So let's see. Here's a little rundown on the 2026 LA Marathon, specifically the men's race. Produced a really nice dramatic finish
Very
at
dramatic.
the end. So
Yeah.
American runner Nathan Martin won the race, excuse me, in 2 hours, 11 minutes, 16.5 seconds, according to this, edging Michael Kamau. Is it Kamau? Kamau.
You know more about this than I do.
Okay.
I've only seen the
Well,
video of the finish.
so the American runner edged the Kenyan runner in what was officially recorded as the closest finish in LA marathon history. So they basically were both essentially timed at 2 minutes 11, or excuse me, not 2 minutes, 2 hours 11 minutes and 17 seconds. But Martin crossed the line 0.01 seconds ahead, and it definitely was a complete photo finish. And
Yeah.
when I say that he like kicked it into gear, like the last about 800 meters or so, I mean, kicked it into gear. So Kamau, who was the Kenyan, led for most of that race. In that race, by the way, it starts at Dodger Stadium and then it finishes in Century City. Basically, late in the race, Martin is still chasing from behind. And Martin said that he first spotted the leader with about a mile and a half to go. And then with about 800 meters remaining, he decided to make a final push to close the gap, steadily gained ground. And as they started reaching the line together, Kamal lunged forward and fell across the finish. There was even some initial reaction that maybe he got pushed and
Yeah.
that's why he fell. However, that was quickly, I think, put to bed when you
Yeah, it
saw the
didn't look
slow
like he
mo.
got
Yeah,
pushed.
he did not. Yeah, he definitely did not get pushed. He truly like lunged forward and fell. Like so, he got basically he like Martin walked him down, like straight up just walked him down. I mean, out of nowhere. You have to see that. If you have not seen this, you have to see this. Because for me to screenshot or do anything with running content and send it to Kelly, that means that this is like crazy. I love walk
It was.
downs. Like that
It was
gets me
crazy.
every time. So basically, yeah, Martin maintained his stride and he crossed literally a fraction of a second ahead, which is pretty historic because he's what, only the second American, or no, that might not be true. An American won last year, I believe.
I don't know much
Um,
about the LA Marathon, to
yeah.
be honest.
But anyways, yeah, pretty cool, pretty crazy finish. What did you think about that whole that whole finish when you saw that? That was wild. Wild.
That I feel like would be one of the worst ways to lose a marathon.
Mm,
You know, you're like cruising to the finish. You think you got it on lock, and then all of a sudden, from your
li-
peripheral at the
literally.
line, you see someone. Like, I don't fully remember the video, but I don't think the Kenyan like looked over his shoulder ever.
I was truly thinking that in the back of my head, and I was like,
Because I
"Ooh, I
feel like he
haven't
would have.
watched it in the last like few
Yeah,
hours, so maybe." Or I haven't looked at a video today. It was all
same.
over my feed, the last couple of days, but I didn't look at anything today. So I was like, maybe I misremembered that. But it did look like he let up just a little bit.
It did at the end, yeah, which
Yeah,
I makes me think he didn't know he was coming, or
yeah,
like he was coming that fast.
yeah. That was just crazy. It reminds me of whoever that was in the Olympics. Remember the
Which event?
USA men's track and field athlete
Which
where
event?
I don't
There's so
remember.
many
It
events.
might have been it might have been a 400, might have been a 4x4. I
What
can't remember.
happened?
Oh, no, no, no. It wasn't a relay where, I mean, whoever it was, when he walked the guy down, I mean, it was like a full out, like arms flailing, the whole nine. I remember we talked about it because the running joke was like he summoned like every ancestor that's ever
Mm,
been created to get across that finish line because he was
yeah.
just like left it all out, and we're giving him like no credit by not mentioning his name. But I
Yeah.
remember that one completely because I remember like his arms were flailing, his legs were flailing, like it was just like Jesus take the wheel
Yeah.
and get me across the finish line. So, yeah, I mean, congratulations on that win. That was just absolutely wild. And I think if I if I remember correctly, I think in one of the interviews, the guy is like a track coach in Michigan, a high
Oh,
school in Michigan, something like that. I think it was Jackson, Michigan, which is not far from Michigan State, where I lived for a while. So props to him. But yeah, it just goes to show like
it's
strong
not over
finish.
till it's over.
Yeah,
Always
definitely not
run
at all.
through the line.
Yeah, for real. It was just wild. So if you get a chance to check that out, please do. Okay.
Mhm. Do you
Let's
want
see.
to know
What
the drama
was
around the LA Marathon?
Oh yeah, you had mentioned something about that. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
some people are up in arms. I
okay.
don't personally think it's a big deal. So, uh, the weather was hot for the LA Marathon,
Okay.
and I don't know the history if it was LA or not, but I think there was a marathon in recent years where they either canceled the race or like canceled it mid race because of the heat, like unexpected heat.
Hmm.
Um, Someone can fact check me. I have no idea. But this year for the LA Marathon, they were giving runners an option to stop at 18 miles and still get a medal because of the heat.
Okay,
So
that
that,
would explain a piece of content that I saw where somebody
yeah,
said something about instead of choosing to take the, whatever medal at 18, I kept choose to keep going, and I didn't understand it, but Now that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
Okay.
that's the context. They gave people basically an out. Like if you're feeling the heat and you can't, or like you probably shouldn't exert yourself for another 10K, you can stop and still get a medal. Granted, you won't have a marathon time. You'll have an 18-mile time. But
Right, right.
yeah, I saw mixed feelings online. There's the people who go hard or go home, and they're like, do a marathon or don't.
Goggins, stay
And then
hard.
there's
Yeah,
yeah. And then there's the other
I
people
get
who
it.
are like, well, this seems like a good compromise between potentially having like if they didn't have this option and a bunch of people pushed themselves to finish and got heat exhaustion or like died or whatever, like
Yep. Liability.
then those people, probably the same people, would be giving the race directors a bunch of crap for not doing the right thing. So it's like I think it's a good way to preemptively be like, hey, we know it could be dangerous heat out there. If you're feeling really bad, you can stop at 18. And like,
Sometimes you do need to protect people from themselves.
right. And it's still an
So,
individual decision at the end of the day, but
okay.
you know,
Question for you.
yeah,
What would you do? I already know the answer to this.
I wouldn't run a marathon.
Oh my gosh, Kelly. Okay. So it's
um,
not a marathon. Let's say it's a 5K. I don't know. It's something where let's say if it's a 5K, let's say it's halfway through and there's that
well, the
danger
5K
of
doesn't
heat
have the
exhaustion.
same consequences. Like, even if it's extreme heat,
Mm-hmm.
running for like 20 some minutes, you're probably not going to die. But if it's extreme heat and you're running for 4+ hours, 3+ hours,
Mm,
you know,
yeah.
um, I would try to finish.
Yeah. That
But
tracks. That totally tracks.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like if I were running and I'm trying to think if I've ever had heat exhaustion. I haven't had heat exhaustion, but I've like fainted before. So if I'm starting to get the symptoms of I'm gonna faint, I
Yeah.
would stop at 18, you know? Um,
For context, am I correct in my assumption that if conditions like that were not a factor and someone was experiencing symptoms of like potential like heat stroke or something coming on and they decided to take themselves out after, let's say, 19 miles, if those conditions hadn't been set in place by the race, would that person get a did not finish then? So they would.
yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a
That's what I
difference
was
between
assuming,
a
but
DNF or
right.
finished 18 miles. But I
Interesting.
think the bigger thing is it's like not that it was hot, it's that it was hot this early. Like if you're running the LA marathon,
Hmm.
historically, I don't think you're expecting a lot of heat. It's not like
I mean, it's March,
running the LA marathon in July.
right?
I think it'd be a different, I don't think they would necessarily
I'm
consider
gonna,
giving that.
I'm totally gonna tune into the podcast that comes out probably about 3 months from now that reveals the backstory of why it was so hot in LA that day. That would totally be up my alley. This is gonna. I'm telling you, this is probably all part of the climate change stuff that's going on. I'm telling you. I just
Yeah.
know it. I just know it. There's
Yeah.
always some underlying thing. Yeah. Speaking of, do you want to transition to the big one, the big
Yeah,
topic?
the big one.
Because there's always some underlying thing that's going on. All right.
So are you up to date on the big one? Or am I about to give
Probably
you fresh news?
probably not. Do you want to do
Okay.
the rundown?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
you go ahead and do the rundown because I
Um,
had a little summary put together, but I have a feeling that I may not be the most up to date on this.
well, I'll give the rundown of what happened,
Okay.
what we're even talking about.
Yeah.
So last weekend, March 1st, I believe it was, um, in Atlanta, Georgia, was the US championships, half marathon championships on the road. Um, and this event serves as the US championships, also serves to choose the top three that go on to the World Half Marathon Championships in Copenhagen in September. So, really big race, really, really high stakes. That and like first place gets $20,000. Second place, I think it's like 12,000 maybe, and then I don't remember third. A
Definitely
little less than 10,000.
pretty solid
But
cash prizes on this
yeah,
one.
solid cash prizes.
This is one of the bigger payouts, I'm assuming, for
I
half.
actually don't know.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with
I mean, that's definitely
many
not
of the
chump change,
payouts.
though. Dang.
No, that's a
Yeah.
good payday. And the other thing is if you win the US Half Marathon Championships, then you have more to go back to sponsors with if you want to switch sponsors or like negotiate your contract with your current sponsor.
Mm.
And depending on your contract, you could have a bonus for performance. Anyway, a lot at stake. So the men's race went off without a hitch. It was fine. I don't really even know the results because the women's race was did not go off without a hitch. So it was the top three. Really, Jess McLean had broken away from the field. She was in first place, and
Yep.
then two runners behind her, but there was some daylight between them. Jess was following the lead vehicle, which had the timer, the camera that was recording for the live stream. I believe there was a bike with them as well. So like two vehicles.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
I had down there was a police motorcycle, escort, a
Mm.
lead vehicle, and medium motorcycles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lots of vehicles that she's following.
Entourage.
Entourage, yeah. So a little past 12 miles at an intersection, the whole motorcade turns left. So naturally, Jess goes left.
To the left, to the left.
Yeah. And then second and third place also went to the left. And then about a little more than a minute later, I think, they realized they went the wrong way.
Mm.
So they all had to turn around. It added on somewhere around half mile, a little more. The woman who was battling for second, I heard an interview with her. She said it was somewhere between 800 meters and 1,000 meters.
Yeah.
And
That's
Jess
what
was
I had
taking
down
off the
too.
course more because she was ahead, and then they saw her turn around, so they turned around because they were like, I don't know what's going on. And then by the time they got back on the course, other runners had gone past.
Yeah.
So they're not in the top three anymore. So the top three that finished have no idea that they finished in the top three officially because they never passed the top three runners that they knew were ahead of them. And then the ones that should have finished top three finished like 9, 10, 11, something like that.
I've got it here.
Yeah.
So McLean. So the ladies who had been top three. So you had Jess McLean,
Yeah.
Emma Grace Hurley, and Edna Kurgat.
Yep.
So McLean finishes 9th. So they had been 1, 2, 3, right?
Yep.
Okay. McLean finished 9th. Hurley finished 12th, and Kurgat finished 13th. So
brutal.
the person who crossed the finish line first that you were talking about, who had been behind them,
Was
but
Molly
she
Bourne.
went straight. Yeah,
Yeah.
Molly Bourne crossed the finish line first, becoming the official U.S. half marathon champion. I watched her YouTube video about the whole thing.
Oh,
So
I
that
didn't know
was
she had one. I'll have to
yeah.
watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was her. It was basically her race day vlog. So yeah, it was. So you get like her legit. Here's, hey guys, starting my day.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, yep, definitely unrelatable because she's like, I'm going on my shakeout run before the race. I was like, your shakeout run?
Yeah, you
Okay.
gotta warm up.
Yeah. I was like, why are you sprinting? But okay. It was. Plot twist, folks. She was not sprinting, but to me,
No.
that was a sprint.
Yeah, they're just very fast.
Gonna do a little shakeout run before I
Yeah.
run 20. Before I run what 13 miles? That would be.
Yeah, 13.1.
Anyways,
13 and a half
okay.
if you went off course.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it said it was like a kilometer, so somewhere around. Yeah,
Yeah.
what you said. All right, so
Yeah. So then naturally it was chaotic at the finish. Everyone's like, what is going on and what's going to happen? and they're like, this is unfair. Like,
Yeah.
we know who should be first. Um, Especially given she was so close to the finish and like she was speeding up. She was not slowing down, you know?
Yeah.
Second and third could have gone either way, but I feel like still like there was enough of a gap between them and fourth that's like, okay, the top three was probably going to be the top three had they not turned.
Yeah.
Um, so outrage ensued online, and everyone is calling upon USATF to do something. um, and as these things go, well, actually, USATF put out a statement pretty quickly,
Yeah. I think I remember seeing that.
which, yeah, I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Or you sent it to me. One of us sent it to the other. But basically, they were like, I'm paraphrasing. Basically, going off course was not the athlete's fault. However, there's nothing in the rule book that can allow us to change the results. So the results are final and will not be adjusted, was the gist of it.
Okay.
Uh,
I just pulled
which,
it up. Yeah.
okay, which made people even more angry because it's like, you guys made the rules. What do you mean? There's nothing
Yeah.
in the rules. Like, especially this is clearly not, this is an unprecedented situation in a championship race, you
The,
know?
so the way that they worded it did seem odd because
The
can
way I
I?
took it was like, this is set in stone. We can't do anything. Sorry.
Yeah, they're like a protest was filed by athletes in the women's field who followed a lead vehicle off course. That protest was denied and an appeal was submitted. The jury of appeals found that the event did not meet USATF Rule 243 and that the
Hmm.
course was not adequately marked at the point of misdirection. This
Yep.
violation contributed to the misdirection taken by the athletes within the top four time of blah 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 a time of misdirection. However, the jury of appeals finds no recourse within the USATF rulebook to alter the results order of the finish. The results order of finish as posted is considered final. That wording is really super odd because they're like, yeah, the course was definitely structured incorrectly,
Yeah.
but we don't have a rule for that.
Which is
It's
very
very
odd
it's
because, like, one, you can't foresee everything that's going to happen. So you can't expect to have a rule for everything
right.
that could happen. Um, I also feel like
Hmm.
at, like, if they all have GPS files, GPX files of their race, it
Yeah.
would be pretty easy to estimate what their finish time would be. You know, like
I
remove the section where they went off course and how fast did they actually run to the finish. That
s-
might not be the most fair, but
yeah, so I'm gonna play the other side of the I'm gonna you know how I like to sometimes put myself in the shoes of the organization. So if I'm
yeah.
if I'm gonna if I'm gonna argue this,
I mean, I'm guessing they're just afraid of legal action.
yeah, I think I think that what it is it's an acknowledgement of yes, we screwed up. And also, we don't have a solution in place right now. So we're willing to completely take the hit, take the L, take all the negativity for not having a solution in place. And we're not going to come up with one to rectify this situation. Like for 2026, we
Hmm.
will have a plan for if this were to ever occur again.
Yeah, see, I didn't
That's
take their
how
statement that way.
that's
I
how
feel like in that statement, they did not take accountability. I feel like they were like, Atlanta Track Club did not mark this course correctly. It's on them. And then they're like, well, our rule book doesn't let us do
oh
anything, so we can't do anything.
okay. Here's something that I I want us to address too.
Okay.
Okay, so there is the initial reaction from people.
Yeah.
Where my head first immediately went is, can we we don't need to react quite yet. I'm very curious, like help me understand how it happened in the first place. And in my feed, the tone in the comments, like when I looked at like it shows you like 3 hours ago, 14 hours ago, whatever.
Yeah.
The tone very much changed once the reason for, or the explanation that was given
Hmm.
for why the course wasn't properly marked was
Yeah.
released, then the vibe definitely toned down quite a bit. So that part, which we should share,
Yeah. Well, I think that went in conjunction with another thing, which is what made people happier. So Atlanta Track Club came out and explained step by step exactly what happened.
mhm.
And they agreed to pay out the would-be podium the
do you want
prize
to
money.
do you want to cover what happened, like how the
Yeah.
course got marked wrong?
This is crazy. Okay, I have the Instagram post up.
Yeah, I have it,
So,
or I have a summary at least. I don't know if
yeah, I'm
it's
gonna skip like the earlier timestamps, but 8:07 a.m. there was a report. Oh wait, 8:05 a.m. Officer riding a motorcycle working the race was struck by a vehicle at the corner of Mitchell Street and Ted Turner Drive, which is close, around 300 feet from the intersection where they took a wrong turn.
mhm.
So then that report goes out, and some of the police officers that were manning that corner went to attend to the officer, which I think we can all agree is the right thing to do.
Yeah, let's not gloss over that. You hear officer injured, officer
Yeah,
down.
officer down, like
Dude, all bets are
you're supposed
off.
to just go. Yeah.
Correct. Like
Hmm.
bump your race.
Right.
All bets are off. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so they moved the cones to go respond. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
so
they
they
probably went
move
left
the cones so that they can
or
they
get through the
can
intersection.
get to where they need to. Okay, got you.
Yeah, they moved the cones. As of 8:07, they had not repositioned the cones. Okay. 8:10. Somehow the men go through without a problem.
I think I saw somewhere also that it was somewhat odd because the official course went through like a, not a
A pedestrian
pedestrian.
bridge? It's
Okay,
some
yeah,
sort of bridge.
yeah, which generally would be considered like unusual,
Yeah.
and that the turn was actually like road.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
that,
straight ahead was like blue.
yes. So
Blue ground.
normally a place where there are not vehicles that are
Yeah.
going anywhere. So that also, I think, contributes to the confusion too.
Yeah. Um, I am still confused how the men were led the correct way. But anyway, so 8:10, the lead male athletes correctly, successfully navigate the intersection.
That'll be part
Uh,
of the follow-up podcast too.
8:11 to 8:14, the intersection remains unattended
Yeah.
as the men go through. 8:15, emergency vehicles are going through. 8:20, the injured officer is loaded into an ambulance and transported to the hospital. Also at 8:20. Okay, so the emergency vehicles go through and the cones still are not moved. And then at 8:20, the women take the wrong turn.
Okay.
The
When
race, hold on. The
oh, go ahead.
race-related officer assigned to guide them to the footbridge are a block away attending to the injured officer. And then 25 seconds after the first female athlete goes off course, the first race assigned officer who aided the downed officer arrives back to the intersection.
And then puts things back where they go. Gotcha.
He goes and gets the four women who turn around and rejoin the race. But yeah, there is a video of when they turn. You can see there are no cones
Yeah,
indicating they go straight.
I saw
And then
that.
when they get back on course, there are cones
Yeah.
that block off like half the intersection. Yeah, so it just seems like a perfect storm of events, but it does beg some questions still, like why don't the vehicles leading the race know where they're going? Like regardless of if there's cones or not, they should know the course or have it programmed somewhere, you know? If the men's race could successfully navigate through an unmarked intersection, I don't understand why the women's motorcade couldn't do the same. Which I feel like that this is where I feel like USATF is not taking any accountability because they're just like, oh, the local organizing committee, Atlanta Track Club, like it's their fault. They didn't have it marked properly. I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many different angles to this because um so two kind of two angles to the same point that I'm going to make. So I could definitely see a scenario that I don't think is that wild of a scenario where whoever's in that lead vehicle, they know the course, and also they got word that there was some sort of an emergency incident, and then they thought, okay, this is not the course that I had been told, or these aren't the directions I was supposed to follow. However, I did just hear that there was something officer involved, so maybe we're being asked to reroute
I feel
to
like if they
avoid that.
were, they would be explicitly asked to reroute.
I, yeah,
These are
I
all
also,
assumptions. We
yeah,
don't know what happened
yeah,
in that
definitely
car.
all assumptions. I'm just saying, like, that's
Like that's not an assumption that someone leading a race should make without explicit direction.
I don't yeah, I don't disagree. And also, humans are humans who make calls in last minute scenarios. So, I mean, I work with all sorts of people who, even when you go through the main plan, the contingency plan, and then the backup to the contingency plan, then you get in that exact situation and they're like, well, yeah, I know that we drilled this like 3 times and we had the backup plan. And also, I confirmed with you one other time. And still, when I got in that scenario, I just kind of freaked for a second. And I figured I'm just going to make this call. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't think it's that
Yeah.
far fetched, just because I've seen so many people at a certain point just not still go with a protocol. Like, there's protocol and people
Yeah.
just don't follow it. And the other angle is, I was thinking, like, just a regular real life scenario is, you have a GPS, like you're on a trip and you have a GPS that's rerouting you, and you just don't trust the reroute of the GPS, or you don't trust where it's telling you to go, and you just are going based on your instinct. You're like, this doesn't seem right. That sign seems like it's probably right, so let me follow that sign. Like, I'm thinking
I
of
don't
just
think you can
different
make that
scenarios.
argument in a race setting.
I some Okay. I I agree that there's a different point of view. Like, you know me, I'm all about different perspectives.
Well, I
I just
mean,
very often, I very often come across people who, regardless of, like, well, yeah, there's a definite, like, 1, 2, 3 ABC. Like, there is a structure to this, and I can't tell you how many times I've interacted with people, and I'm not talking like, yes, I work with a decent amount of like college kids, and I'm talking about like grown adults too, and even adults that I've worked with in like real life scenarios. And we talked about like the backup plan to the backup plan, and they still, it's not unheard of at all that in a high pressure situation where you're supposed to make a call and you've run through the drills so many times that somebody just doesn't follow through on what they're supposed to do. I see it all the I don't know. I think we see it
I
all the
feel like I would
time.
understand it more if there was actually something going on at the intersection. It's not like the emergency was there and it was like in front of them and they were like, "Oh, do we stay on course or not?"
Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't disagree with you. I'm just thinking of a very real scenario where somebody just hears, like, oh, I heard that there's something going on. Like, especially in these times that we are
Yeah.
in currently, when you hear like officer is down, or there's some sort of an officer incident, and then you see that there's a reroute that you had not been told about, you may quickly put two and two together and you just decide to make that call. Like, I just wouldn't totally be shocked at
I
all.
just don't think there was any reroute. I think someone just made the reroute. Like they could have heard officer down, but I don't think there was anything that was like
Didn't they put
we're
the cones up
weird.
though, where the people were
No.
supposed to go straight? Where did they move the cones?
Are you talking about after they made a wrong turn?
No, so I'm talking about when the barriers or cones, whatever it was, were moved.
Yeah.
so that they could make sure emergency vehicles could get through, or so that those officers could go help somewhere else. So
Hmm.
they had rerouted, or they not rerouted, but they had moved
They
those
moved the cones, yes.
directional cones, right? So they
The
moved
cones
those
were no
cones.
longer blocking the intersection.
And so they took, right. So could they still have gone, they still could have gone straight.
Yeah, there was nothing blocking the straight.
So they could have gone straight, or they could have taken the left.
Yeah.
So the cones, they just completely moved them out of the way.
They moved them from blocking the left turn.
Got you. Yeah.
That's why I don't understand.
I
Like,
see
there's
what you're
nothing
saying.
blocking the original course.
I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Cause you're the way, yeah, I totally see like how you're seeing it also, where you're just like, hey, you were supposed to go straight. Straight was still available to you.
Yeah. And there's nothing that
I
tells you
totally see what
otherwise,
you're
to
saying.
our
Yeah.
knowledge.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
Mm.
they just went on autopilot and they're like, I guess
Uh-huh.
I stay on the road.
Right.
But
I did find it
I,
interesting that maybe you can speak to this, that people were like, shouldn't the runners have just known the course or something like that? Help me
yeah.
understand that. I mean, I get it, but you get it from like an angle of having actually done these events and things like that. Like, is that a realistic expectation that the
Um,
runners should have known, even if a lead car goes one direction, you still just,
I personally don't think so. And granted, I've never been in the situation where I'm leading a race, but like I think a lot of us can, hazard a guess. How would we react in
right,
that situation? Like if I'm leading a championship race and I'm following
the lead
something
car?
that is videoing me on a live stream that has my timer on it, or our timer, not like my specific one.
Yeah.
Uh if they turn left, I'm not thinking, is this turn right? Like, is this
You
turn
know what?
correct?
That is facts, especially because
Especially
there's,
running at like 5:15 pace at the end of a half marathon.
yeah, miss me with that like hard.
Right. Like,
Well, especially
yeah.
because like you said, there's a camera, like there's a whole media team
Yeah, it's like
that's
all the
there.
official vehicles. Like, why?
Yeah.
And like the risk you're taking, even if Jess was like, I don't know if this turn is correct, the risk she takes if she goes straight is that she's wrong. And
Hmm.
then if she's wrong of her own accord, there's no remedy, Like she comes in the
Yeah.
place that she comes in. Versus at least now it's like it wasn't her fault and she's getting what she should get for the most part. She doesn't get to break the tape, which she should have, but yeah, like the people saying that, I'm like, have you ever been in an athletic situation that's high pressure where you're like going all out? Like,
Yeah. From my opinion, as a casual, or as Ty would call me, a normie, I see that as like, I would see that lead car as basically like the official
yeah,
of like if I'm in a basketball game, that's the ref. Like
right.
that's the person that I'm like, they're calling the shots
Hmm.
here.
Like, why wouldn't you trust them?
Because it actually, yeah, because as I think about it too, say that there is some sort of an actual like emergency issue that happens on the course and they need to reroute. Like there's been some sort of an issue and they need to reroute for
Yeah,
safety or whatever the case may be, then you would expect that that lead car is going to take you to like where you
safely.
should be
Yeah.
going. So
Hmm.
regardless of what you think the course is, you don't like, that's not your call to make.
Yeah,
Because if that were the
exactly.
case, it would be like, well, I didn't feel safe running to the left, so I just decided to take a different route. I'm still in the marathon though, right? I'm still in the event. Like that,
Yeah.
it definitely doesn't work that way,
No.
as far as I'm aware. I don't know a lot about running, guys, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't work.
No.
Yeah,
And
that's a good point.
from what I've seen online, this course has like upwards of 30 turns. So
Wow, that's a lot, right?
that's a lot.
That seems
Yeah.
like a
And
lot.
it'd
Okay.
be a lot to expect of athletes, I think. Especially in that situation. Like you're trying to use as little energy as possible thinking about everything except running your race, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But the latest update is USATF did say they're having an honorary podium
Okay.
with Jess as first, and Emma and Edna is the other one. They're like shared second because it was too close to say who would have come in second.
Hmm.
So that's good, but the team selection is still up in the air, which is obviously a big question mark.
I see that that Molly Bourne posted, if a spot on the world team for Copenhagen is offered to me, I do not plan to take it regardless of who it goes to because I did not fairly earn it. Here's to hoping there can be changes to the rules in this exceptional circumstance so that there may be some justice for the runners who were wronged.
Yeah.
That is a ballsy move. Classy move, I should say, not ballsy.
I think all of the top three have said
Oh,
something to that effect.
like the top three by time, like
The
the
official
official quote
podium. Yeah.
unquote official top three.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, now the
But
thing is though, those three that were leading, they finished not. So I mean, what about
right. Yeah.
what
So like the
what about the
roll
ladies
down.
at 4, 5, 6? They're like,
Well,
we're going.
and I don't remember the exact rules. It's even more complicated than that. It
Oh,
is like it's the top three, and then in order to be offered from that race, you have to be in the top five. But if the top three refuse, it rolls down, I think, to the top five, and then based on world rank.
mm,
So it's not even like those three give it up. The honorary podium can just step in unless USATF makes that decision, which a lot of people think they should. So that's where the current mess is. And I'm guessing what they're trying to figure out from like a legal standpoint, if we do this, what is that? What signal does that send? My sense is that they are worried. I saw in one of their statements, they're worried about the precedent it would set if they just say, like, oh, the official podium is not our team. We're going to give it to these three.
I I actually agree with that.
I feel like in this situation, I, yeah, I mean, I guess I could see in the future they could be like, well, we did it before. So we're just going to choose who we want.
Yeah, I know we're going to be
I know
pulling
we've
this
gone on for so
landing,
long.
yeah, landing this plane. Yeah, it reminds me of when like a really pivotal call is made in a major sporting event like the Super Bowl or
Yeah.
NBA championship, like something like that. And that's definitely happened before, like a World Series, or even a really important baseball game. There was a game many years ago where, if I remember correctly, it was a pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. Um, I want to say he had a perfect game going. And I
Hmm.
think that, so he had a perfect game going, and then there was some play like maybe ninth inning or something like that. And the ump makes a call. And this is prior to like instant replay and all that
Yeah.
stuff. This is like many years ago. But the ump makes a call and it ends up breaking up the perfect game, which
Mm.
for anybody who's not aware, in baseball, like a perfect game is so rare. It's so hard to do. That's basically a game where the pitcher does not walk anyone, doesn't allow a hit. Like it is literally a perfect game. They made no
Yeah.
mistakes. Like the pitcher made no mistakes. And basically like the runner wasn't called out. And then upon like actually looking at the video, you can see that the runner was definitely out,
Hmm.
and they Major League Baseball would not change the call at all. And this wasn't in game. This was like
Yeah.
later on they realized it, and they can go back and change. I mean, if they really wanted to, like they could change things, but they just said like, we understand that that was an error. We're not going back to correct it. And so, and even the umpire apologized to the pitcher and like famously apologized to him, and he said it's just something that's going to haunt him for the rest of his life because he knows
Yeah.
how hard it is to get a perfect game. So I think about it from that aspect too. It's easy for me to say because I'm not like intimately involved in this situation at all. And also my gut, like if I hypothetically had to make a call in a scenario like this, it would be, if I'm leading that organization, it would be I failed because I didn't put something in place to rectify a situation like this. Um, I'm going to put something in place going forward. However, for this year, things are going to stand as they stand. because
So
I can't
here's
set the precedent that I'm just going to come up with something each time that, you know,
yeah. I mean, they could write in something,
need to do a
I
better
think.
job of thinking of all of a lot of different scenarios. People may say, well, you can't think of everything. Well, you should try.
Yeah,
That's
I
the whole
think they
point of
could
having
include
leadership.
something that gives them some flexibility of some way, shape, or form.
I could see that. Yeah.
However, I don't like the comparison to MLB, NBA,
Yeah.
NFL
Okay.
because this is why.
Yeah.
Uh, in the sense that a bad call can mean they don't win the Super Bowl, they don't get a perfect game, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
Um, in running, if they don't get certain opportunities, it directly affects their paycheck and their livelihood. Like, if you don't win the Super Bowl, you're still getting paid millions just for playing
Uh,
football.
you
Well,
do. It's a significant difference from a compensation standpoint, though. Like they get paid massively different bonuses. Massive. So I get what you're saying.
but like a bonus on top of a
I
millions a year already
I understand. Yeah.
compared to like a professional runner who has to work a full-time job and if
Well, well, even we're looking at what the size of the purse was in these things. Like the size of the
yeah,
purse was like, I'm sitting here like, oh snap, 20 grand or what? That's
yeah.
huge. Like, yeah, yeah. I, s- I
I just think the
totally
stakes
get where you're
are
coming from.
a little higher in the running world and like that's not to say that it
Yeah.
doesn't impact those who are in, the more highly paid sports, but I think that needs to be taken into consideration when they're like deciding the world team cuz if like
Mm,
if Jess were to go to Worlds and place in Worlds, that exponentially increases the amount that she can make. And especially in running, granted, the other sports are similar, but like there's no guarantee that she's going to be as good as she is this year, next year, you know?
yeah.
And it's like super individual.
I
I
think
don't know
that
much about the drafting for like football and all of that stuff, but I feel like you
Yeah, I think
can.
also like my example of MLB, it's the first one that came to mind just because I remember that being such a big deal. And also, I mean, I just spent the whole weekend at a college basketball
Yeah.
um, tournament, and you see it at all. I mean, you see it at all levels of sports, whether it's
Yeah.
amateur all the way to professional, and they don't go back for the most part. For the most part, they don't go back and change this stuff. So, like high school football, when there's a
Yeah.
call and then later on it's turned out that like that was the wrong call, like that could have been life-changing money for the kid. I mean, we can really kind of dig into those particular
Yeah.
pieces, and I just don't think, I mean, I don't think there's going to be any situation where you can really satisfy the majority of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I see what you're saying when it's like
I mean,
you
I
may
don't think they
not get
should
another opportunity.
yeah, I don't think they should change anything, but like the world team isn't finalized.
Well,
That's where I think they can make certain changes,
yeah,
you
that's
know.
something that I literally just thought about was, okay, does that mean then that you're not sending the actual best runners? Like
Exactly.
not about like who gets the opportunity. It's, are these the best athletes to represent? So it's not about like who, you know what I mean? Like it's not about
Yeah.
like, oh, you took a chance away from that person. It's, oh no, we're supposed to be sending like the best of the best. And
Mhm.
we have a potential issue because we will not be sending the strongest runners.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think like unless the three of them just like fell on their face in the last mile, like it's very clear that they were separated from the rest of the pack. Um and the good and bad thing about running is when choosing teams, it's whoever is the best at that race on that day. And I think a lot of us can say with certainty that it was the honorary podium that was the best in that race on that day. And due to circumstances outside of their control, that I feel like USATF should take more responsibility for, they were led astray, you know? I feel like they just need to figure out wording to be like, for this instance, we can choose who we want to send to Worlds because of the situation and what happened, but not like a blanket. We can choose, if we don't like the top 3, we can choose whatever top 3 we want, you know?
Yeah, they're gonna.
So maybe they're figuring that out, because that is definitely something for a legal team and not for us normal people, you know?
They're gonna have some major damage control on this one,
Yeah.
and need a PR firm to
Mhm.
handle that.
I know. Maybe we should send it to Molly McPherson.
Oh
Get her
yeah,
take on
I
it.
actually listened to her most recent one too. She's sharp.
Oh yeah. What was
She's
the most
sharp.
recent one? I
The most
subscribed.
we are wrapping up here, folks.
We are
The
wrapping up.
most recent one was when she did it was like a shorter episode, say under 20 minutes,
Yeah, it
and
was
she
a
was
short
talking
one.
about when Christy Nome
Oh yeah, she
didn't
wouldn't answer the
answer the
question.
question about whether or
Yeah,
not she had sexual relations with
that's right.
her aide or top
Yep.
guy, whatever it was, and then subsequently she was moved into a different position.
Yes.
So yeah, I really enjoy stuff like that where you get like the the explanation of like how people basically run game. 'Cause it sounds
Mhm.
like that's basically what she does. Because she had even
Yeah.
said on the podcast, like just came back from like dealing with a client crisis, blah blah blah. So it's spin. Like I like what I really enjoy is that she doesn't hide that it's all about the spin. Like
Yeah.
that's absolutely what it's about. She was
Mhm.
like, when you get point blank asked that question and you don't say yes and you don't say no, it's like you just effectively said yes.
Yeah.
So she just screwed it up. She's
Uh-huh.
like, I think she's going to be done. And then next thing you know, she's
She's
done.
done. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe USATF, maybe you're right. They might need to hit her up for
Seriously.
real. All
Yeah.
right.
But anyway, that
That's a
was
wrap.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went for longer than we expected
Yeah. Scandal in the world of
in the world
running.
of running.
Yeah. All right. You
Yeah.
want to let the folks know where to find us?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at Lifting Running Living Pod or at Gmail, liftingrunnинglivingpod@gmail.com.
Word. All right. Well, thank you again, folks, for listening to another episode of Lifting, Running, and Living. We truly appreciate it. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.